At the time of recording this video, Justin Rose is fresh off a victory on the PGA Tour this past weekend at the Farmers Insurance Open at the age of 46, I might add. And he's just, when you look at the past 4 rounds he's put together, made a rather difficult layout in Torrey Pines look rather easy. Now, I must say, there's a lot to like in Justin Rose's golf swing. As a golf coach, I'm going to talk you through some of the pieces that I quite like and some of the pieces that I feel will be quite transferable to applying into your own swing if you're looking to be a little bit more consistent. Now, in terms of what I feel has given Justin Rose some of the longevity that he's had throughout his career at the very top level of the game, I want to jump straight into that here today. Now, in terms of if we're talking about the consistency in his strike, if I marked in a reference point here and I drew this line in from his right ear to his right hip, I want to show you the very stable inclination to the ground that Justin maintains throughout the swing. So by the time he climbs to the top of his backswing, we can see his right ear has stayed on that green line. And as he comes through impact, up until about his right arm being level to the ground in the follow through, he's still very much on that green line. Now post this point in his swing here, we would call that P9, position 9, if you're familiar with the P system for describing positions in the golf swing. Once he gets past P9, like most great players, they will start to lose some of their side bends here, and we will see him extend up from this point. Now, in terms of what you can learn from this, if we're talking about a lot of amateurs and why their strikes are so inconsistent, we tend to see quite a fair bit of bobbing up and down with their height during the golf swing, so that would mean that their inclination to the ground is going to be quite unstable. Justin Rose doesn't even have to have his ear on that line exactly throughout the entire motion up until right arm level to the ground in the follow through, but it's extremely close to perfection right here. Now, in terms of the strike, this is going to be very easily applied, relatively speaking, compared to other changes you might try to embark on in your golf swing. A classic head on the wall drill can be very effective. If you commit to hammering through repetitions of that, you'd be surprised how quickly that can seep into changing the movement pattern you make when you put a golf club back into your hands. And if we're talking about something in Justin Rose's swing that, still staying on the topic of his stable inclination to the ground, but something that works around that, that gives him quite a lot of power and quite a lot of high level of ball control in the swing, I want to highlight his hands here. So I'm going to turn on a joint tracker here and focus that in on his left and right wrist. And I want to show you how his hands orbit around that stable inclination that we just talked about. And the relative symmetry that we see on either side is phenomenally impressive here. Now, when you see someone like Justin Rose do this, it would be quite easy to go and see these lines drawn on the screen here as the analysis tool traces his wrists and his hands movement. And it would be easy to look at this and think, well, what other way is there to do it? That he makes it look so simple. But I can promise you, as a golf coach, we see so many amateurs have what we would term as a high exit. For an example, we could see a lot of erratic moves in the backswing, but let's even just take the follow through as an example here. We would see so many amateurs have a high exit where the shaft appears on the other side of their body from this down the line camera view, where the shaft pitch gets very, very upright and it would appear through the neck. So we would call that the guillotine swing plane, where it cuts through the neck, or certainly at least above the shoulder. As we take Justin Rose back a little bit here, we can see as he works around that stable inclination to the ground and his hands orbit around that, we can see his shaft exits through just underneath the shoulder here. So as I get rid of some of these lines here, let's bring him back a little bit more. If you're looking to build in some power, this is going to be a really great way to do it. As the hands orbit around that stable axis, we take advantage of something called angular momentum. So we get a lot of power through that. The same reason why you would see a football player run on a curve to strike a free kick for maximum power. The same reason so is Justin Rose going to make sure that his hands his hands aren't traveling straight back and straight through, they are working on an arc around the body. So that for me is the most important thing that you can take away from Justin Rose's golf swing. I want to talk you through a couple of other pieces while I have him here in front of me. Now, from a setup perspective, he's very, very neutral with his lower back, his lumbar spine. As I sketch in a line here to represent that, we can see there's no excessive arching or rounding of his lower back. We see a little bit of rounding out through his upper spine, his thoracic spine, which then allows his arms to hang in a relaxed fashion directly underneath the shoulders. So some nice checkpoints from a setup viewpoints to keep an eye on here. As Justin Rose works his way to the top of the backswing, I'm just going to turn off those tracers. You can see them starting to appear. I'm going to turn them off on his hands here. As Justin Rose makes his way to the top of the backswing, we can see his lead arm works across the chest. And we can see that lead arm is perfectly matching the inclination of his shoulders that they're on down to the ground. We also see his trail arm in a very compact position here. It hasn't worked too deep in behind or flung off the body. It's in a great supporting position of the shaft here. Very neutral at the top. And his club face is a lot stronger than what it would have been compared to his younger days. We can see the club head is appearing on the right side of the shaft as we look at it here. Now in his younger days, his toe of his club head would have been hanging much more directly down relative to where it is right now. So it would have been in a much more open position. And a result of that led to a little bit of a lingering hangover that we still see if we pay attention to his head movements here in the downswing just as he comes into impact. So for someone who has an open club face at the top, not that he has to worry about that now, but when it was much more open back in the day, you can see how his head works back a little bit here, particularly if you focus on his right ear, like so. And as his club face is more open, his head would hang back a little bit and he would try and use his right hand to release it and square up that face. He has previously in interviews talking about his golf swing referred to his right hand as the steering wheel in his golf swing. So you can still see a little bit of, as I say, the lingering hangover effect of that previous move evidence here as he comes through the strike. So Justin Rose, his golf swing has evolved over time and his golf swing has aged like a fine wine, it is fair to say, and I am sure that we're going to see plenty more victories before he decides to hang up the clubs.
If you've enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button. It really helps with the growth of the channel and just also ensures that you won't miss out on any future content coming from myself here on the channel, of which there is loads coming very soon. If you liked today's analysis on Justin Rose and would like a similar look into your own golf swing, you can receive similar to the voiceover that Justin Rose got today, plus much more. I connect with players from all across the world through the platform Skillest, of which I'll leave a link in the description box underneath the video here. You can have a look at my profile. Once you download Skillest, it's a free app to download. Search for Seán Marks in the Find a Coach tab on the homepage, and we can connect today. I've got multiple different monthly programs that you can select from to best suit your needs and to suit your goals. You can receive, as I say, the voiceover, and more than that, you can receive consistent daily feedback. My response time for working with online clients is always in 24 hours or less. I'm a firm believer that success in any endeavor loves speed, and golf is certainly no different. You need the right answers, and you need the right answers quickly. If you'd like to connect for online, you can search me on Skillest. If you'd like to connect for in-person lessons here in Ireland, you can find all the information you need to connect in person through my website, seanmarksgolf.com.